Hey everyone, welcome to a new malicious compliance video. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called How to Get a Manager to Listen to You. I supervised a glass manufacturing department. One night we had an issue with a thermocouple that controls the temperature of the glass. Because it was creating nuisance alarms, the operator disconnected it and forgot to notify the next shift to monitor it manually. We lost control of the furnace for a couple of hours and scrapped the product. The plant manager came in that morning screaming and ripped the entire staff a new one. We were trying to explain that the thermocouple needed to be fixed. But instead, he continued to yell at us, told us we were idiots and told us to monitor it and notify him every time it went into alarm, or else he would fire us. To further reprimand us, he insisted that we call him at home in the evening every time the temperature went into alarm, so he could ensure we were doing our jobs. He did not know, and what we knew was that the alarm for the broken thermocouple happened about every 15 minutes. My operator was worried and asked me what he should do. The plant manager was so insistent, I told the operator to wait until after midnight, then call and inform him every time it happened, according to his direct request. The plant manager came into work the next morning very bleary-eyed and sheepishly told us that we did not have to do that again. He finally listened to us and we got the problem fixed. The next story is called If You Are Not on the Schedule, Don't Come In. Years ago, I worked in the shoe department of a huge retailer. We had a manager who was generally a really nice guy, but he had this incredibly annoying habit of being very late in posting our schedules. They are supposed to be posted on the wall by the punch clock 2 weeks in advance to give everyone plenty of time to sort out any conflicts without leaving a shift short-staffed. We were generally happy to cover for each other, but with increasing frequency it would be Thursday or Friday, and schedules running from Saturday on would not be posted. When we complained, he never got in trouble, because he would meet the deadline for making the schedule and entering into the system. He just wasn't making the effort to physically post them for us to see. We started warning him that if the schedule wasn't posted by Friday, we would not be calling in on Saturday morning to find out whether or not we were supposed to be there. Company policy was that in order to be authorized to work a shift, it needs to be on your posted schedule. Initialized by management if it's a change to avoid people going into overtime or picking up a shift in a different department and screwing up payroll. Management would frequently say, if you are not on the posted schedule, don't come in. The day finally came. We showed up for our Friday evening shift and the schedule wasn't posted. We asked him to post it. He said he was sick of all our whining and complaining and to stop asking him already. It would be posted before he left for the night. He left and of course the schedule still wasn't posted. We were tired of covering for him and jumping through hoops to get a manager or HR to check the system for our scheduled hours, which is challenging if you're on the afternoon shift, especially after being spoken to like we were the unreasonable ones. So when Saturday rolled around, no one came in. The morning manager called the people listed on his manager copy of the schedule, but since none of us were on the posted schedule and we were rudely told to stop asking about it literally 12 hours ago, it wasn't our fault. Everyone in the store hated our department because they thought our job was the easiest. How hard is it to pick up shoes? So the pandemonium that ensued was extra hilarious. Shoes literally everywhere, customers freaking out, people being pulled from all over the store to get yelled at by angry customers, phone ringing off the hook with specific questions about shoes needing to be put on hold. Cashiers were livid, no one to do price checks, and they had to help pick up the shoes that had become a genuine safety hazard. Management got a hold of everyone who was supposed to be there Sunday. It was the first time we happily came into our department that looked like a bomb went off and put away about 15 shopping carts full of shoes, as well as what had been left on the floor when the closing shift finally gave up. People from other departments were a little bit nicer to us, and our schedules were always posted in a timely manner after that. The third story is called The Boss's Daughter. So, back when I was a university student, I got hired for a summer vacation position at a dog training school to design and maintain their website. It was kind of one of those scammy sorts of certifications that would never land anyone a job anywhere, but it was a thing and the school was actually fairly popular. Now this was back in the day before MySpace, where GeoCity websites were our own little touch on the internet. If you are young enough to never have had the pleasure of visiting a GeoCity site, here are a few of the common themes. Like the Dawson Creek theme? Not for long, because your inner ear canal is going to be eviscerated on half the ones you visit with "So Open Your Morning Light" being shouted at you. All the fonts, all of them, from Comic Sans to Times New Roman, you're going to see them all. Wait, all those fonts are visually appealing. Better make a giant slurry of colors as the background to balance it out. And let's top all of that off with some low-res, low-frames GIFs. Art of perfection. Anyway, I was actually a competent web designer, and it was clear that their official website was made by a not so competent web designer. It was basically a GeoCities site hosted off GeoCities, which somehow made it worse. That's kind of why they hired me. A lot of the graduating customers in the final survey called the homepage a total mess. The daughter of the owner of the company had designed it, and she was not happy that people disapproved of her work. You see, I was the poor bastard in the position of cleaning up her crap, and I really did make a valiant effort to be civil about my job, essentially boiling down to undoing her job. You have to understand here that at the end of the GeoCities era, people were beginning to realize that visitors to our websites didn't want to have seizures upon opening them, and the web in itself was gradually moving more towards simplicity. Drop-down menus were all the buzz, especially because the high-speed cable was not yet popularized, and nobody wanted to load an abomination that reminded them of that god-awful teeny drama with kids who had thesauruses in their back pockets. The owner's sweet baby girl had also apparently caught wind of what they were paying me, which she thought was far too inflated. Their core salespeople were making half the hourly that I was making, so why did they need me when they had her? The switch drove a brand new Volkswagen New Beetle, so obviously she wasn't hurting for money, but I digress. During our first meeting, they asked me about my plans for the website. I went over how the current website's bones were good, which they most assuredly were not, but it could use a more modern touch. I proposed simplifying it with drop-down menus and so on. During this meeting, the owner's daughter gradually transformed her smug smile into a sneer, and later on into a full-out scowl. Eventually, she interrupted me, saying that I wasn't there to redesign the site, the purpose for which I was explicitly hired, but to do the tech stuff with her doing the design stuff. In general, people agreed with her. Maybe art director was hidden somewhere in her BS consultant title, but whatever. I realized then that my tenure there wasn't going to last long. To milk out every penny from my paycheck, I suggested that she handled the design side and I built the site. Without exaggeration, everything she suggested was bordering on malicious stupidity. I did it all anyway. Barking sounds on clicking links? You got it. Wait, you want me to put how many success story pictures on one page? Well, you're the designer. Yes, I'm fairly sure that discipline is the correct spelling after all. No, I'm sure people's 56k internet connections will handle this just fine. A month and a half later, our abomination was complete. She was strangely satisfied, and to this day I wonder if the entire thing was a ploy to get back at Daddy for something. You could legitimately build a better site in the GeoCities web browser tool. If the job mattered at all to me, I probably would have vomited in disgust. When it was unveiled, everyone in the company unanimously hated it, and all I could say was that I was just a tech guy. I was soon thereafter let go for unrelated reasons, and a month later, when I visited their site, I noticed they had gone back to the old one. Out of curiosity, all these years later, I just looked up the school, and apparently they still do exist. My act of malicious compliance obviously didn't do any lasting damage on them, as their new website is about what you would expect from one in 2021. But I am still proud of myself. The last story is called, Are You Serious? So, I was working at Subway a few years ago, and a man came in with his wife and 2 children. I had all 4 sandwiches started when the man asked me for the code to the bathroom. The policy was that you had to make a purchase to get the bathroom code, but by the way he was doing the potty dance, it was pretty apparent this guy needed to go. Obviously, either he or his wife will pay for the 4 sandwiches I've already started. The next day, my boss sits me down and lectures me about how the code is on the receipt for a reason. She watched the tape and saw me give the man the code. She tells me, I don't care for who it is, whether it's your friend, family, whatever, you name it, you do not give it the code under any circumstances. Later on that night, I was working by myself when some guy in a trench coat and greasy long hair came in the side door. He said, Hey man, somebody got seriously messed up outside. A long line of customers waited for me while I subtly grabbed the very sharp red knight and went around to check. It wasn't the best part of town, so you never know with people. Anyways, as the trenchcoat man stated, someone was seriously messed up outside. His face was all bloody and he was just a mess. I called 911 and went back to making sandwiches. Sometime later, a few cop cars and an ambulance showed up. They were doing their business outside, and then one of the officers comes in and asks for the bathroom code. Like 6 hours earlier, my boss told me not to give it under any circumstances without a purchase. I laughed a little and told him what I told all the other customers. I'm sorry, you have to make a purchase first. You can get a cookie which is a few cents and then it will be on the receipt. He didn't realize the laugh was really at myself and how awkward of a situation he unknowingly put me in, nor did I have a chance to explain it before the laugh and the rejection of the bathroom code caused the cop to become straight up furious. He gives me 3 warnings to give him the code. Each time I tell him I'm not going to give it to him and the customers are on my side, telling him I'm just doing my job. After his 3rd warning, he shook his head and muttered, "I can't believe you're interfering with an ongoing investigation," and he uses the walkie on his shoulder to get some information. About 5 minutes later, one of the cops handed me a phone. I answered and my manager said, "Are you serious?" Long story short, the cop got the bathroom code and a free bag of chips. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do, and if you haven't, please let me know why. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.